Here we go. We're live. All right. Got dog chewing a bone. Got dog chewing on her butt. Everyone's chewing on something. Fantastic. Welcome, everybody. It's Monday night. Sorry, I'm doing another late night show. The Euros probably love it. The Australians love it. The Americans are like, oh my God, why are you always so late? Sorry, I got things to do during the day. Went to go look at potential new war rig. I was really excited about it, but the transmission was just completely shot and not worth the time or effort, so oh well. I'll find one. Okay, so after hours, AMTD HDK, that weird Chinese tech stock, flew to over $900, settled at $750, somewhere around there right now, for no reason. No one knows what they do. No one can name a product they make. They were excited and releasing press releases about how their IPO generated a market cap of $1.4 billion, and now suddenly they're worth $200 billion, somewhere around there, or they were at one point today, out of nowhere. I cannot wait for puts to become available on this thing. I will buy every single put I can afford and watch it crash and burn, because there's something weird going on, and it should not be that high for a company that it should not be worth as much as Exxon for a company that no one knows what's going on. Other news, lots of stuff posted today about problems with German brokers and how German brokers never provided dividend shares, didn't even know there was a dividend or split going on. People who did get shares are now getting huge tax bills for thousands of euros because it looks like they sold their position and then bought back in. Yeah, there's definitely shenanigans going on, and those shenanigans are going to give fodder to GameStop to ask the DTCC to remove their shares from their system. Even major brokers here, like Fidelity, did not know it was a dividend. They were told by the DTCC it's just a regular stock split. So this tells me the DTCC knows full well there were not enough shares to go around. So they gamed the system explicitly to make sure that at least the U.S. customers got their shares. Shares. They're not real shares. Apparently. None of us got real shares if we are in a brokerage. So, if that's the case, and as has been highlighted in certain documentation released by GameStop, they reserve the right to exercise their shares away from the DTCC to perhaps put into a different system, maybe one with a blockchain, maybe one called GME Marketplace, something like that. I'd be curious to see what happens. So, I can't remember what the timeline was. I think someone said 30 days. I thought it was 90 days before they can demand that back. But either way, end of this month, end of October, if all shit goes haywire, be very curious to see what happens. But until then, you can get one of these. And turning you off, I will have no 1,000 intro day off. The other one's off. Everything's off. It was a nice balmy 80 degrees today, so just a lovely day. The office is a perfect temperature. I'm not melting. It's fantastic. I'm so comfortable right now. So much more so than the sweat pit I've been in for the last week. Okay, so little Gary Gensler. Hello, Mr. Houston. I'm a big fan. What are your thoughts on milk? 1, 2, or 3% pasteurized or non-pasteurized? Generally 2%. And I'll take pasteurized. Heck, I'll take ultra pasteurized. I don't need to add extra microbes to my body that will want to kill me at some point. And I like having the ability to keep milk in the fridge for a long period of time. So pasteurize the heck out of that stuff. I don't care. Drew, Houston. Having trouble wording this question, but are we in the same situation as '08, except instead of banks giving short mortgages, or shit mortgages, banks are giving hedgy and family funds margin they can't afford? Probably yes and yes, in that I still think there's a lot of shit mortgages out there. and because they aren't calling them subprime. They're still adjustable rate mortgages all over the place, but they're not calling them subprime. But they have definitely lent way too much money to investors, to margins and to hedge funds and family offices, and just regular investors. You can see from all the folks, the hundreds and maybe millions of accounts in the crypto world that have been margin called since maybe April, that we might be looking at something similar in just regular investment counts. There's a lot of margin out there, trillions in margin, way more than any point in our history by a vast amount, and 50% of that was created since COVID began. So the amount of margin is just skyrocketing upwards. That's bad news. There's so much that it's that old adage, like if you owe the bank $1,000, it's your problem. If you owe the bank $1 billion, it's their problem. We have probably thousands of hedge funds and offices that owe the bank billions each, and it's definitely their problem. Okay, Guitar Stuff has got something West Coast, California, 39121. Where are we going? We're going down south. We're in a mountain. What mountain are we in? 121. Where are we? We are in Central Valley? Yeah. We're in the mountain in Central Valley, which would have been an island the last time the Earth was really warm. I can't remember what this thing's called. At all. I can't remember what this is called. What are you called? The Lone Mountain in Central Valley. Duh. There it is. Not much development in here. A couple of farms off the south. What is this place called? This reservoir. Duh. Duh. So what are you called? Central Valley. What's the name of that thing? Oh my gosh. Why no not? If anyone knows the name of that thing, tell me, because I totally forget what it's called. It's like one little lone mountain in the north part of the valley, and it would have been an island in ancient sea a long time ago. But I cannot remember for the life of me what it's called. Something. It's something. It's halfway between Redding, Sacramento. I cannot remember at all. Tell me if you know. Sutter Buttes. Thank you, Bird Bear. Thank you. Sutter Buttes. Okay. Thank you. Save me. My brain was going to be itching about that for a long time. Boom. Shabam. All right. Curious one. Kuru disease is a troubling condition everyone should know about. In case our future looks a certain way. Kuru disease. I don't know about it. Infectious protein of prions found in contaminated human brain tissue. Oh, this is the one the folks who ate their dead and then got the prion disease, and then they would die, and then they would eat them and just prion to prion to prion. Yeah. So if things get rough, go there, go there. Oh, I forgot to tell you which Chrome to be on. Come on, come on. One of these days I'll get through this. Yeah. So these folks ate each other. Because when people would die, they would eat them. That was like the funeral ritual. And yeah, they stopped after they all got the prion disease. Basically, mad cow disease is a prion disease as well. Very similar. Yeah, there is similar disease appear in cows in bovine spongiform. Yep. And these prions are like indestructible. You have to basically sublimate the carbon out of them. So you have to get the temperatures up to like 6,000 degrees in order to kill them. Otherwise, they'll just sit in the soil waiting for something else to suck it up and then get it into the plant life or whatever. You really have to like nuke them to get anything to get them to break down. They're just brutal. Brutal. Okay. Hello, Daphne. Hello, Jason Blackwell. Guitar stuff. We are after dark, so what should I be afraid of other than smallpox and a second Trump presidency? Shit, man. China's doing lots of saber rattling towards Taiwan again. They are claiming they would shoot down any fighter jets that accompanied Pelosi to Taiwan, her national visit through Asia. My guess is that the American government at this point is going to be like, you know what? Send the jets. They shoot it down, and it's on like Donkey Kong. I think at a certain level, U.S.-China relations is becoming a little antagonistic, not in a way most people think, but in a way that people didn't imagine. Which for a long time, China had lots of like U.S. Treasury bonds and stuff, and so like we owe China money, but the amount of money that China owns of U.S. Treasury bonds is nothing compared to the amount of money that China owes the U.S. in municipal and corporate and real estate bonds. That China owes us like $14 trillion. And the U.S. policy might become something like, hey, bitch, where's my money? You owe us my money. Give me my money. I want my money. Give it to me. Where is it? And China's going to do a lot of, well, I'm not going to pay anything, which means it's going to be a huge breakdown in diplomatic relations. They're going to default on everything. Our dollars paid for their infrastructure through these bonds. And China's going to go and try and take Taiwan, who makes all of the microprocessors in the world. So there's going to be a lot of back and forth on that. And the only way to save face is if China somehow pays everyone back, but they don't have the money, and no one will take their money for it. It's got to be hard currency dollars. So I'm not sure exactly what the solution is going to be there. It's going to be gnarly. It's going to be bad in the end. There. That's what to be scared of. Chinese apocalypse. Johnny just finished graveyard shifts. The question is to stay or to zzz. Oh, Johnny? Stay as long as you want, man, woman, person. We're here. Oh, yeah, Daphne's talking about the Forward Party, Andrew Yang's vanity project. Yeah, the Forward Party's dumb. And you can't create a party and not have a single platform issue that can tell everyone. All you can do is like, well, we're different. Cool. How? We're just different. We're not one of the other parties. Cool. How are you different? Because we are. Where do you stand on these issues? Not going to tell you. That makes for a poor party. Little Gary Gensler, Houston, wait, gosh, how about that split that wasn't 100% dividend, huh? Surely the least idiosyncratic risk I have come across during my tenure as both a big gov and big bank sub. Truly my time of life. Truly time of my life. I like that. All right. Joshua GME, was this split the ripcord for RC's trap? I'm beginning to think more and more that it is. That he knew just how screwed up they'd have to be with this. And, they're asking everybody. They made that website, literally before the split happened, they made a website that said, hey, if you don't get shares or there's shenanigans, contact us at through this website and tell us who your broker and what's happening. I think they're collecting evidence to take to the DTCC to say, hey, give us our shit back. And we'll trade our stock somewhere else, but not through you anymore. That's what they're going for. Yeah. Bird Bear Moon soon? Sooner than before, I think. David Dixon. If a common working class stiff knows it's a dividend in the form of a split, then certainly brokerage should know that too. Yes, that's another thing, is that these folks are, I got sent, recorded phone calls people did with their brokers. You see the text messages. And I'm like, oh, we just were told it was a split. Your loudest, most annoying customers are GME holders. They call you constantly. They pester the shit out of you. You should be aware of what's going on with that stock above and beyond any other stock that trades through your brokerage, because we are annoying as hell. Not only that, we're the loudest retail investment community in the world. More DD has been done on this stock than any stock in existence. So if you're a brokerage, you don't know what's going on at this point, it is willful ignorance on your part. That's exactly what's happening. It's all willful ignorance. They know. They're just hoping that we're dumb enough not to call them on it. If they learned anything, it's that we're dumb enough to call them on it. Yes. Slayer J1 camera works for now. I know. I'm waiting for it when it's going to blink off at some point, and then we're going to go to the monkey cam. That's not being enjoyed by a monkey butt. Hey, monkey butt. Hey, little dog. Monkey butt. Monkey butt. Come on. Get up in your bed. Get up here. Come on. Everyone wants to see you. Everyone wants to see you, little dog. Come on. Get up there. Get up there. Oh, do it. Yes. Go. Come on. She's like, I'm not your toy. I'm not your patsy. I don't have to do what you tell me to do. I'm my own independent creature, and I'll lurk in the background at best. Yeah, chewing that bone. It's a good bone. Get it. All right. DVS. I'm sure the DTC accidentally told them to do a forward split, not a divvy, no doubt. Nothing sus. Yeah, nothing sus at all. Yeah. Scott Paul and brokers are jokers, and I'm a broker. Bird Bear Fidelity later confirmed they distributed the shares as a dividend. Okay. I've not seen them confirm that yet, though. I'll have to look at that. When? August 4th. I think it's on August 4th, but I'll maybe check the calendar. Dylan Miller, have you been to Leavenworth during Oktoberfest? I have not been to Leavenworth during Oktoberfest. I've only been to Leavenworth at the height of summer and the dead of winter. Never been shoulder seasons. My friend has a cabin up there on Icicle Creek, but it's Christmas time. It's winter time when we go up there and go skiing at either Mission Ridge or Stevens Pass. Nick M. Houston, if GameStop takes their shares out of the system, does that affect MOASS at all, or shorts having to cover and close? Nick, it would be catastrophic for the hedge funds, because if they're taking all their shares out, that means every single solitary short position has to be closed out before they get all the shares out of there. So basically, if Ryan Cohen goes to DTCC and says, hey, you screwed up, we've got all this documentation that you screwed up, we want our shares back, then it's a 90-day process for the DTCC to recall every single solitary share that's out there, collect them all, and give them to GameStop to do with what they will. That means everything has to be closed. Like when a company goes private and there's any short shares out there, you have to close that position. So the stock price should go absolutely bonkers. And if they're closing everything, that means margin calls across the board because the price is screaming. So anyone short on it is dead. Which means any other short position they have also has to start getting closed out because they're going to be margin called on everything. So if Ryan Cohen, and I know Ryan is a huge fan of the show, he's constantly in our chat. He's always just a joker in here constantly. If he's watching, you are watching, aren't you? Then he knows that if he requests the shares back for GameStop from the DTCC, this thing's gonna explode. I mean, people keep saying, like, how can GameStop be $1,000 a share? For the same reason a company no one's ever heard of called HDK, which is trading under the AMTD ticker, is $1,000 a share for no reason at all, and is already claiming 140% institutional ownership after 2 weeks of being traded. There is just so much evidence that there's going to be so much money in the stock when it explodes that all we can do is just sit, twiddle our thumbs, and go, told you it's going to happen. It's coming. Damian Bellman, hi, CEI was pretty expensive in 2008. Do you know why? I think they were getting lots of government subsidies back then for their alternative energy production. And they've been shorted since then, since those subsidies ran out. I believe that's the case. So I might Bill confirm for you there. Damian Bellman. David Dixon, Houston, do you like movies about gladiators? Sure. I mean, I don't know how many movies about. We got Spartacus, Gladiator, Ben-Hur, sort of the chariot race. That's kind of the same type of thing. Those Greeks. Are there others? If there are, I cannot think of a single one. But yeah, I like all three of those movies. Okay. Buy Blockbuster. We just got to Colorado Springs, and the kids want to find some cool rocks. Do you have any recommendations on what to look for or where for beginners? Well, if you're in Colorado Springs, you have to get past the Front Range, which is lots of layered sandstone and stuff from oceanic rock, and get up into the areas where you got a lot more metamorphism. So higher up into the mountains there. Around, you'll get gold in that area. Lots of gold in that area, actually. Let's go to this. Gotta turn you off. Go. Turn you on. There we are. So. All right. So right in the Front Range here. Go up the canyon. Let's see here. Where is Canyon? That is Highway 50. That is up closer to Denver, isn't it? That's here. Canyon. Pine, conifer, Deckers. Yeah. So let's forget that. That's a little too far away. But here you go. Here's a giant mine right here. These guys are probably finding all sorts of stuff. Cripple Creek. Yeah, gold mining town. It's a giant open pit gold mine here. Gold field, of course. Yeah, you can find gold here. There's also like crazy quartz crystals in some of the metamorphic layers between the granite plutons, where some of these mountains are built, and the sandstones that were ancient seafloor bottoms, where pretty much is all of this area, where like dinosaur country. And you'll be able to find probably dinosaur bones and stuff out here, coal seams, cool stuff like that. But once you get into the deeper Rockies, like where the 14,000 footers are, you'll find all sorts of stuff. You'll find lead, copper, silver, Byzantium, just crazy stuff is in these mountains out here. And these are all the towns, all the ski resorts out here were all silver, lead, gold mining towns before they became ski villages. So there's lots of stuff to look for. Just go on the rivers and pan. And wherever behind big boulders or on bends of rivers where like the washes, where the sandbars are, just pan in there. You'll find cool stuff. You'll find crystals and black sands and gold flakes pretty much everywhere you go through there. So that's what I'd suggest you do. Otherwise, get a rockhounding guide and look for actual like crystal fields to find. I haven't done any real crystal mining in this part of Colorado. I go north, like Red Feather Lakes. In this area here is where I do sapphires, rubies, and diamonds. Is in here. I don't think any of that exists this far south. It's this pretty much the border for the craton where the diamondiferous rock is about Fort Collins across. And then north of there is where I get diamonds and stuff. But I wouldn't doubt if there's sapphires and things in these mountains too, because there's metamorphic marble, and you'll get spinels. You'll get there'll be pegmatites, where you might get sapphires out of them as well in some of these mountains. There's a lot of crazy mountain building that goes on. Where was that question? Oh, there it was. Okay. G-Fund. Mortgage-backed securities was not the reason why '08 so bad. Sure, it was a catalyst, but because the repo market failed due to a run on liquidity. Oh, that's something to look at. Which might be a giant reason why I've got the reverse repo market storing all that cash for the banks, is that there will be something available for repo once the Federal Reserve releases that to the banks. Yeah. Just from Dax, can you have Bigums on talk about Phase 6? I can ask him. Why not? It'd be fun to have him on. Send out a flare. I'll send him a message after the show. Remind me at the end to send him a message after the show. Daniel Lofstrom, East Trade treats all splits the exact same no matter what, and their system can't tell the difference. They admitted to IOUs in my account as well due to they got the word DTCC is sending shares. Oh, yeah. The cavalry is coming. Help is on its way. Yeah, right. Slayer says, my Schwab shares were issued as dividend. We're all there. We're there day of. All right. Michael McMinician picked up 2 GME options for $36 strike for this Friday. I've been buying a few shares too. Keep up the great content. I got a couple for this Friday and a couple for next Friday. I also have a SPY put for next Friday. I just have a feeling Asian markets are really red right now. That might bleed over to our market tomorrow. But come on, baby, drop like a rock. let's drop this rock. Just from Dax thinks DTCC never distributed. I bet you're right. I don't think they had anything to distribute. All right. You make sure you cook your soylent green properly. Yes. In order to avoid prions, cook your soylent green to at least 6,000 degrees Fahrenheit before serving. Bex, Houston, happy birthday. I found it curious today that my app that fit years has said TD. Now clear it says TD Canada. Also, prion disease, mad cow, scrapie in sheep, deer is terrifying. Yeah, there's a problem of it. I think being an elk in like Idaho, Montana area, that some people have like hunted elk and then got the prion disease from that, mad elk disease. I don't know what you call it. But yeah, dude, prions are gnarly. Just gnarly. I had a lady when the mad cow thing was happening. I was in high school and I was a grocery bagger at the grocery store, and this lady was like, I don't want to give my dog any beef because it might get mad cow disease. And I was like, dude, your dog, it's gonna take 10 years for it to like start to show signs in a dog. Your dog's gonna be dead by then anyway. So who cares? All right, monkey, you can eat all the prions you want. He's not gonna live long enough to care. Michael Harrow, Houston, do you wipe down those weights at the gym, or do you think monkeypox will never find you? Dude, I wipe everything down at the gym. The gym is disgusting. If you ever hold dumbbells and lift them, your hands will smell like BO. I wipe that stuff down religiously. Everyone actually at our gym is required to carry around a bottle of Viricide and a fresh towel, and you have to spray everything down before you use it and everything down after you're done. And people are pretty good about it. Also, I go when no one else is really around, like middle of the day when everyone's at work, is when I gym it up. So at least I don't have to deal with too many people. But yeah, I spray everything down. I do not want whatever they have. Meow meow. HDK may be FOMO bait to create selling pressure on GME, then rug pull to trap retail. I mean, at this point, retail can't afford any of it. So, it screamed before anyone had an idea of what was going on. Like before we knew it was at $600, and we're like, what was this thing? I normally get notifications when something's IPOing, but I didn't get any notifications about this. And it's a weird IPO because it's a Chinese stock, and so when you click on it, you see there's like this weird maintenance fee you have to pay because it's not actually a U.S. stock, international stock that's trading on the U.S. market. It's weird, and maybe it's rocketing for the same reason that we saw those shit coins last year just spike to cajillions of dollars, right? CSX coin, the one that went from like 9 cents to $3,000 in one day, and created a $400 billion market cap for the coin instantly. Stuff like that creates a huge amount of wealth that hedge funds can say, look, I've got all this stuff under management, I'm fine. And then the higher ups go, oh, okay, we don't have to margin call you. So maybe they're doing that with these Chinese stocks. They're taking something that should not be that high, rocketing it, making it look like their assets under management are huge when it's just a huge bubble. And they go, see, you can't margin call me. I have so much. I am rich. And maybe that's what's happening. Ape Man Can. So happy I made it to a live show. Talk dirty to me about GME phantom shares in Germany, please. Man, I have no idea what the legal system is like. Some Germans might be waking up right about now. Some early morning folks. If you are in here, our Deutsch brother and sisters, let us know. Is there like a class action option in Germany? Can you like collectively sue your brokerages for just everything for screwing this up? Because if they sold your position without your permission and then bought back in, and now you're paying a huge amount of taxes on what you had, that's wrong and should not have happened. If they're never issuing your dividend shares because, what dividend? I don't know. That's wrong and never should have happened. So you guys have a lot of wealth that all of a sudden is missing that they need to make up for, and they're going to owe you on that. In America, we would file a suit. There'd be a suit right now. Just a class action with 15 million plaintiffs, and they would take them for everything they have. They'd have no choice but to settle for a silly amount. The lawyers make 1/3 of it. And, yeah. Dan Marjolette, why don't you buy a Jeep and get it over with? Oh, because I'm not going to drive a Jeep. Gross. What am I, like a high school girl? All right. Joshua GME, using just roll time's sake, how high do you think this will go? Higher than any of us can possibly imagine. There's seriously going to be somebody at the absolute peak that's going to sell a single share or a fraction of a share for such a stupid amount of money that it's going to make us all go, oh my gosh, that was actually possible. And that person will be a living legend. But we may never know who it is because they may not tell us. But yeah, it's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy. J-Dog, does that include Evergrande shenanigans? Yes. Lots of shenanigans there. There was I think it was William Morgan sent me an article that China is now, their $44 billion fund to help bail out all their real estate companies, which, I mean, the real estate companies owe $4 trillion. What's $44 billion supposed to do? Nothing. It's already up to $150 billion. So in 1 week, they realized $44 billion wasn't enough. They have now essentially quadrupled it, and that's still not going to do it. But their goal is to finish apartments for just the folks who had bought ahead. And I don't know if that's enough money to finish all those apartments. They have to do something to quell the public, because there is definitely growing tensions. Runs on banks, people, getting mad. You can mess with their freedoms all you want, but you mess with people's money, they start to freak out. Oh, where'd that go? Olin Smith, so why does China have a bill of $2 trillion to the USA? Because our banks, investment funds, hedge funds, those things spent a lot of money on Chinese bonds. Basically, dollars from U.S. companies and U.S. investors went to pay for a bunch of stuff in China, real estate and infrastructure improvements. The 22,000 miles of high-speed railway in China was paid for with U.S. dollars. That was all government and municipal bonds to pay for all those train stations, and all that rail line to connect China was paid for with U.S. bucks that they're supposed to pay back, and they're not. Which mean, imagine if instead those banks had invested in U.S. municipal bonds and government bonds to build a network of high-speed rail across the United States. Well, if we had spent $14 trillion doing that here rather than in China, that'd be pretty rad, wouldn't it? We'd have that money here in the United States, spin around the United States rather than going to China where it will be lost forever. Might have to think about what type of bonds you invest in the future. John B. Has no president or cabinet member visited Taiwan before? I'm not sure who the highest... so Pelosi will be the highest ranking U.S. official to visit Taiwan in 25 years. So, and that was... Wait. Cratch holds the portfolio for economic growth. So someone from the State Department in 2020 visited Taiwan. They said this was the highest ranking in 40 years. So Health and Human Services visited Taiwan in August of last year. It was the first cabinet level official since 2014 to go. All right. U.S. Health Chief went in 2020. All right. Yeah, and basically, Pelosi's saying, screw you, China. I'll visit what I want. And China's like, "Rah." So, China's not dumb enough to start a war over this. They'll rattle their sabers and whatever, but they're not gonna start a war over a diplomat visiting a sovereign nation. Even though they don't think it's sovereign, but whatever. Colin L. Happy birthday, Houston. It feels good seeing HKD and knowing that's how fast we can blow up when this thing pops. Yeah, we didn't see any circuit breakers go on HDK, did we? I didn't. And it can climb $200 in after hours like that. So, cool. Works for me. Bum, bum, bum. David Wan, $1 trillion question. When did they run out of distributed shares? They probably ran out the night that it happened. I mean, what? 48 million or something were going to computer share. So that is 15% of all of them. Institutional investments had another 50 million. So that would be 150 million more. So that's more than half of what all the shares in existence would be. And then it had to be split up amongst probably U.S. brokerages. I doubt they sent any overseas. DTCC doesn't work overseas, so I doubt they sent any to Germany or UK or Israel or Japan or Singapore. So I think those brokerages had to fend for themselves. And it's gonna. I think the fact that there are so many international holders of this is why it's going to be really messy. Thank you, international holders of our silly American game retail company. You guys are going to be the true heroes in this. And the reason why it just screams, because the international brokers do not know what to do with it. Okay. Just from Dax also says, no way on earth did RC buy those deep out-of-the-money calls on Bed Bath & Beyond unless he knew MOASS event was imminent. Yep. That right there is a big telltale that he's going to make it go boom. How many shares does it represent? 100 million shares of Bed Bath & Beyond is what his out-of-the-money calls are. 140 million or something. Can't remember exactly. It's a lot. 1.4 million calls or something that he got. It's just ridiculous. So he knows exactly what he's doing. Rich Logic, what do you think of GovX? I don't know what GovX is, so I have no opinion. GovX. Oh, it's a company that does discount e-commerce of military discounts. Yeah. I don't know. I've never used them. So I don't know what to think of them. Where was that? There it was. Okay. Olin Smith, I think many want instant MOASS. No margin call has ever been instant. They've got a timeline and we do not know what it is. Exactly. And a lot of margin calls we don't find out about until days or weeks after it happened. When Archegos got margin called and ultimately liquidated, they didn't tell us for about a month what had happened. So we saw, Discovery stock went nuts, and we're like, what is going on? And we just didn't know. They did not inform us in any way, shape, or form as to what was happening. DVS Houston, this is going to make for a big can kick in the end, whereas Tesla ran after 90-ish days. We will have another delay, possibly. There was a rule William Morgan sent me earlier that showed that there's certain types of margin calls that were tabled during the pandemic and that's set to expire on September 1st. I'm curious to see, not to read deeper into that, but yeah. DVS AMC will run hard on the 4th. 9 million shares due, so expect a pop that will probably get shorted back down before Friday. Good opportunity for AMC apes to sell and get into the real rocket. Yeah, you be an AMC, be in or not, but stuff will pop. Interweb user, if all the shares get pulled from DTCC, does that make us become a private company until we relist somewhere else? I think that's the best analogy you can have. Sort of like what is threatened to happen with MMTLP if they become NextBridge. That there'll be a number of days between when they announce it becoming NextBridge and when it gets listed or delisted and becomes a private company, that the shorts will have to close everything. And they have to close, not cover. There's no covering involved. They have to close position. They got to close out, have nothing on the books, be done with it, or else they'll be screwed and face default. You don't want to face default, especially for a stock you can't buy because it's no longer listed. Greg Mathis, Houston, happy birthday. Would folks be liable for short-term capital gains tax if brokers are treating the share dividend as a share split? I would expect long-term if holding for over a year. It should not change your holding. The people who are facing changes in whether it's long-term or short-term are the folks in Europe who discovered that their brokerage sold their entire position and then bought back in when the share price was cut by 4. Those folks are getting tax bills now all of a sudden. It was oops. Okay. DVS, good news for Bed Bath & Beyond. The massive put wall at $6 has been removed, and Bobby looks set for a huge run. A real GME 2.0 by the look of it. Yeah, might be time to pick up some puts on that, or some calls on that as well. I just wish I had more stuff to play with. I want to just sprinkle here, put some calls all over the place, and just rake it all in, and then turn my brain off. It'd be great. Jeff McIntyre, what do you think about Pelosi visiting Taiwan today? Oh, we just talked about that. Yeah, Pelosi's going to land. It's going to be fine. China will go, meh. Well, they're not going to do anything about it. They like to do threats in the same way that North Korea does threats. They're kind of toothless. And they know that if they act on it, that they just destroyed their own economy. So we'll let them threaten and get angry and turn red, but they're not going to do anything about that. Not for a diplomatic visit. Maybe the dumbest thing you could possibly do. Ever been in a Turkish prison? I've not been to Turkey yet. So I guess Turkish prison will be on the list of like things to do before I die. Guitar stuff, what are we going to talk about when the squeeze happens? Probably just entire shows of people sending me to the Eye of Africa over and over and over again until I just walk away. Just Eye of Africa again and again and again. Toys R Us teaming up with Macy's. All right. DVS, Houston, a very, very large number of fails on XRT due Friday and Monday. Excellent news for GME having a big run. Sweet. Let's do it. And then the following week is the 19th, the Ortex. So let's get some big buys. And what we talked about with Radek last week, there's a narrowing of like the path of danger that's happening for, I don't know what to call it. What would we call it? Narrowing the window, margin window. Is that what we called it? Where as they issue more and more synthetic shares to drive the price down, it's becoming larger and larger liability. So that means every time the price moves up $1, it moves up $1 across 4 billion shares or whatever, which means $4 billion in liability. So if it goes 10, that's $40 billion in liability. And that kind of liability means there's a ceiling at which if the price, let's say the price goes to $75, right? And that would translate to a $300 price pre-dividend. Well, that might be enough across those 4 billion synthetic shares to implode every hedge fund in existence. Now, if they make even more shares, it might be $65 might be that ceiling, or maybe $55. And so they really have a much, much tighter window to try and keep the price pegged. And the more they do that, the more they got a naked short to get it to happen, which means it narrows that price window even more. So if we get down to like a $35 window, so if the stock pre-split would be at 140 as a result of that, then that might be enough to implode the entire game. And if there's no way they can keep the price below that point, and that liability stretches across those 4 billion shares, and it just becomes so much money that they owe, I think it's going to get gnarly. Explain the potash pools. Which ones? The ones that flooded in West Virginia a couple years ago and like killed the river, or the ones that are used to mine gold in Japan. Oh, or you want to talk about the ones in Utah? The ones that got people like to send me those pictures. The ones out in Moab that are really beautiful. Someone sent me there. It's got a couple of times. Google Earth. Go to Google Earth. There we go. So gotta go to Utah. Zoom out. Utah. And Moab. And bam. Potash pools. This place. Yeah. So these are evaporate ponds for this mine that's up here. I'm not sure exactly what they're mining to. Potassium chloride. That's what they're mining there. Okay. So using the production of potassium chloride. So Moab location collects crystals of potassium and salt, which are left behind after evaporation. Different colors of blue can. You guys can't see what I'm looking at because the Google Earth is still in the way. Bam, bam. There we go. All right. So yeah. So these are they're very pretty. I'll give them that. Look at those things. It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. Sun evaporates the water in the pond. Crystal potassium salt left behind, which gather for production of odorless chemical. Potash source comes from Paradox Basin, which has been there for estimated 300 million years and sits 3,000 feet below ground. Extraction involves drilling wells into the mines and pumping the hot water to dissolve the potassium. So basically, they drill holes, pump the water in, pump the water out, and then have it sit and evaporate in these ponds out in the desert. Yeah. Brine is drawn out of the mines, the surface, fed to the colorful pools. The evaporation process begins. The difference in the shade of hues is related to the amount of water that has evaporated. All right. They're very pretty. So pretty. But no, you can't like go boating in them or anything. It takes 300 days to dry the brine. Huh. So they added dye to it to aid in evaporation. How about that? That's why it's so blue. Okay. Though the supply is millions of years old, it was only tapped in 1963 by Texas Sulphur Company. Tragically, the year it opened, gas explosion resulted in 25 men being trapped underground. 18 of them did not survive. All right. Did not know about that. So pretty. There's one in Spain. One algae one outside of San Francisco. All right. Well, there you go. Potash mines. Ta-da. Shaboing. The camera's still working, so I've not frozen in time yet going for you. Mark Sloan, my TD split shares were issued as temp, turned to shares a couple of days later, but doesn't say dividend anywhere. Yeah. Just from Dax, nobody's going to sell GME for HDK. Dude, no one is going to sell. You're going to sell your long-term stock to buy something that no one's ever heard of, that's rocketed in 2 weeks to levels that don't make any sense, and not expect to lose everything? I can't imagine anyone FOMOing into that right now. Why is my chat reset constantly and not at all? Oh, John B. Gladiator movies. OP is referencing the scene from movie Airplane. Oh, it's been so long since Airplane. I'm sorry. Duh. Duh, 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 duh. And like the most conservative shirt he's ever worn. It's got X's all over it. X's and maybe little O's. I don't know. That's the one I pulled out. It's a little wrinkly, but it's all right. I like it. I like it. Sometimes I I can't make them all crazy, because then we wouldn't appreciate the super crazy ones. I gotta go call them every once in a while. There are a lot of striped shirts left in what I haven't worn yet, though. So you may get just a run of a lot of weirdly colored striped shirts. I don't know, rodeo clown colors. You may get there eventually. Kronk, do you think Lou vs. Wall Street is just making up random stuff for views on YouTube? Yeah. I mean, I've never seen somebody flip-flop so often. I just don't bother watching him. Yeah. Hesenbell, Jip. This European loved it. Enjoy a weekly dose of coffee in bed. Good morning from Europortland. Welcome aboard from Europortland. I know. Wednesday will probably be a daytime show unless I got something crazy going. I know. There's another car I gotta look at's in Portland, and Wednesday might be the day I can go do it. Maybe Friday. If we go to Portland, no one can go with me, then I gotta take the train down. That's an all-day thing. It's an all-day thing. Meow meow. Everybody needs to watch Star Crash. It's an ultra-low-budget, poorly written, horrifically acted Star Wars ripoff with David Hasselhoff and a bit part. Star Crash. Never heard of it. Is David Hasselhoff sober in this role? I watched Everything Everywhere All at Once last night. What a delightful movie that is. I highly recommend it. Great movie. It'll make you a little weepy, and it's got a great message, and it's fun to watch. And it's completely ridiculous. Absolutely just so ridiculous. And if you didn't love Michelle Yeoh before, she is just such a cool lady. She does such a good job in that movie. And the girl that plays her daughter, phenomenal job. She's also hilarious. I liked it a lot. A very young Hasselhoff, says Matt Johnson. Okay. Star Crash. I never heard of Star Crash. David Wan, what happens if brokers just treat it as a split instead of a split dividend? How long will it take for that to be revealed? If they treat it just a split and not a split dividend, then there is no clock going for when they owe shares will be facing default, which would be the 90-day window that we're looking at for October. So that would be a way that they would have potentially illegally gotten around that clock, which would beg the question, why wouldn't Ryan Cohen push to have his shares removed from the DTCC? That right there might be the entire reason they did what they did, and they knew that there was going to be shenanigans and that there was not going to be legit actions by the brokers in the DTCC. So, and I wouldn't doubt if they went to the SEC and said, hey, SEC, this is what we're going to do, and this is what we expect to have happen. And when it does happen, I want you to back us when we ask to pull our shares from the DTCC. And the SEC might go, all right, let's see what happens. Because it would be one hell of a way to trap a bunch of people who lied to Congress and said they closed positions when we know they never did. I think that's kind of what we're aiming for here. So I'm very curious to see what's going to happen in the next couple of months. Very curious. And if we get, normal price action cycles that we've been having for the last 2 years, if those keep going while the shares are at $35 or whatever they are, then we might have some explosions happen anyway. Daphne, so if GME recalls their shares out of the DTC, is that game over, guarantee MOASS? Yep. That means everyone who has a short position has to close that position. It cannot transfer. There can only be the 304 million shares that get taken out of the DTCC and given to GameStop to do with what they will. That no other shares can exist after that. So that 90 days to close those positions means they're not going to be probably not going to be allowed to short anymore. It's not going to be able to bring the price down, because that just means more garbage they got to deal with later. And they don't want to deal with the class action lawsuits of a bunch of folks who bought shares, have them in their account, and then for some reason don't transfer over with everything else. That's going to be huge lawsuits. The type of lawsuits that can cripple entire brokerages. Like insurance would not cover that. So they're not. I don't think they're going to be able to play. If that's the case. Rick Logic, do you think AMC will go up on the 4th? Depending on what the news is they have for the 4th. I do not doubt that they're going to have an announcement of huge profits this quarter. I mean, July is the first month in a long time to do $1 billion for the movie industry in 1 month. This entire second quarter, going to third quarter, is just bonkers. They're gonna be green. But I am curious to see what type of announcements they make, and if the rumors for either takeover, partnership, or whatever with a major studio is going to be on the agenda with the Paramount rule ending. So might need to pick up some calls tomorrow. How much are they right now? Let me just look and see what. Go to here, click on that, go there, trade options. What's the 5th? $80 for a 15.5 call, 100 for $15 call for Friday, and next week, 140 for next week. Yeah, pick one of those up, or 10 of those up. All right. Something to do tomorrow morning. Today's the 1st. Tomorrow's the 2nd. Thursday's the 4th. All right. Greg Mathis, Houston. Do you think MMTLP div date be 10th, 12th of August, giving 10 to 15 days to go private? I'm going to blow my load into GME if it goes above 60. Dude, me too. I will buy so many shares if it goes above 60. I don't know if it will, but yeah, I will wash my hands of that and be out, done and gone. Yeah, I want to get myself to 1,000 GME shares, and that is going to be the way to do it. So let's do it. Gary the Gorilla, my broker in Australia, just confirmed to me it was a stock split, not a dividend split. Okay, so Gary the Gorilla, time for you to complain your way up the ladder to superior after superior after superior, supervisor, whatever, and inform them that it was in fact a dividend and not a split, and that they're wrong, and that you're going to get legal counsel along with 100,000 other Australian investors. So yeah. Daphne, hey, I own a Jeep. Daphne, were you a high school girl at one time? That's why you own a Jeep. Aaron Salentine asking about HKD. What gives? Exactly. What gives? How can it run from 12 to 1,000 or close to 1,000 and never once trigger a circuit breaker in 2 weeks? That don't make no sense. I mean, granted, a big chunk of that run was $200 after hours, but $200 after hours, really? What is this, Berkshire Hathaway? No, you don't have a friggin' 30% run after hours, a 40% run after hours like that. Doesn't make sense. 88 Red Mustang GT. Do you think Ryan Cohen has the balls to pull GameStop shares out of the DTCC? Yep. I think Ryan Cohen has made his nut. I don't think he's really necessarily motivated by even more cash. I think at this point he's focused on becoming a living legend. Becoming someone that there are entire chapters in finance books and colleges written specifically about what has happened with this stock. That they'll talk about GameStop in the same way they talk about the tulip bubble or the housing bubble or the Great Depression. Like, it will become a warning / beacon for those who deal in finance in the future as to what's going to happen with the stock. And I think Cohen knows full well the position he's in to make that happen. And that's what they've been working on this entire time. And it's, to some level of it, it is definitely a trolling behavior. At the other level, it is what needs to happen to make the markets fair and just in a way they need to be. We need to have better accountability, harsher punishments, and eliminate the ability of market makers and hedge funds to manipulate stocks the way they've been manipulating them for the last 30 years. That needs to end. People will not be able to dutifully invest in the markets as retail traders ever, as long as this continues. People should not have to learn what we have learned in order to invest in the markets. They should be able to just sock away funds and let the market do its thing, and that should be it. They should not have to dive deep, spend all day on message boards, watching YouTube videos, reading filings from the SEC. That should not be expected of the average investor. The average investor should be able to just put away a few dollars every week or a couple hundred every month and have something to retire on in the end. They should not have their entire fortune eaten alive by hedge funders whose entire goal it is to destroy American companies and watch them blink out of existence because they fixed the bet they made against them. Rich Logic, I'll be going to Trinidad. Will I still be able to sell my shares of AMC runs? If you have internet, I assume. If you don't have internet, Forest Fire Houston, you can't buy puts on AMTD. BS. I know. And I want them to make them available so bad. Oh my goodness. Can you imagine? All right, let's bring out the calculator. Calculator time. Scene. I turn off the Google Earth. I turn off. Bring on the calculator. Wait, Google Earth, why are you still on? It should be off. No, off. There we go. Chrome off. There, calculator. All right. Bam. Clear. All right, so the price is, I think, 747 right now, right? So multiply that sucker by 100, because whatever contract you buy, that's how many shares it is. $74,700. That is the cost of exercising those. Oh no, my camera froze. You son of a bitch. See that? It froze. That little stinky pinky. What the heck? And I'm in the exact same position I was in the last time it froze. That is silly. So anyway, this sucker, I don't know how much it would cost you. Let's say it costs you $2,000 to get a put on this thing. I don't know what the price would be. But, right, let's say the price drops from $747 down to $47. So you have a $700 price drop, right? Multiply by 100 shares means you're going to make $70,000 off of that put. Yum. Yummy, 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 yummy. I want all that money in my tummy. So there you go. All right, monkey cam's being wasted on a monkey anyway. Time to go to the HD angle everyone loves. Means I gotta go to monkey large, which is here. Boink. Oh, there we go. And the messy desk, and the water glasses, and the snaggletooth that's visible from this angle. Well, there we go. Camera's toast. What is up with Elgato? Seriously, folks, what's up with your expensive camera, and why is it garbage? All right. Purportedly stupid, camera's toast, Houston. Look at this thing. Oh, not that one. This one. There I am, frozen. Just a frozen man, frozen in time, being frozen. So disappointing. So disappointing. Monkey butt camera costs $35. That's why it's better than the $300 one. $35 Chinese knockoff. Does what it do. I don't know how to explain it, man. Okay, where did... I lost where I was in the chat. Now I'm distracted. Where am I? Where am I? Mr. Deadshot, Houston, a good place to look for meteorites in Canada, anywhere close. Man, there are more storms in Canada, so any meteorites that fall on snowfields get covered up. So it's hard to look for them in those. There aren't really big dry lake beds in Canada. So I don't know if there's actually a good spot, because your forest, the boreal forests, they create too much soil and bury things that fall from the sky. You might get lucky with a metal detector somewhere out in the plains, the provincial plains, especially if you can find some larger, seasonal ponds or something. But I can't think of a particularly good spot to look for meteorites in Canada. But generally, the best places to find meteorites are dry lake beds and Antarctica. That's it. Other places you kind of get lucky if you happen to be near a strike. But the reason why Antarctica is so great is that it's technically the driest desert in the world. They get less precipitation than the Atacama Desert. And so anything that's on top of the snow, which is thousands of feet thick, had to come from outer space, because there's no rock around for it to tumble off a hill. So if you walk along the snow and you find a rock, there, meteorite, done. Dry lake beds are very similar. A lot of the huge iron nickel meteorite finds were chunks found in dry lake beds in California, Nevada, Arizona. So there's a young kid, he's like 12 years old, and he made a whole bunch of discoveries. So if you go to the Griffith Observatory in Los Angeles, you go to their planetarium and you look around, there's actually a whole bunch of meteorites that were discovered by this one kid at various dry lake beds around California. I don't know how long ago, 30, 40 years ago. So he's a full-on man now. But those are great ways. But in Canada, I don't know if there's any easy places to find it. Look for a place that's permanently covered in snow that doesn't get much snowfall, and maybe you might get lucky. So maybe way up Nunavut, Great Baffin Island or something. I don't know. But there's a lot of ocean around there, so maybe there's more storms than I can imagine. Okay, where was I? Where am I? Oh. Dang it, and that just reset again. Okay. Oh, here we go. Before the stupid, Andromeda Galaxy will collide with us. Will stars, planets smash into each other? And what would the damage of tidal force potentially do? Oh, man. So, here's the thing about galaxies, is that galaxies are quite empty. So, if this was our sun, this baseball here was our sun, the closest star to us, which is Alpha Centauri, would be about 1,500 miles away. So it'd be another baseball 1,500 miles away. And most galaxies are spread out in that same way. So if you had another galaxy pass through us, for the most part, they wouldn't even hit the sphere of influence of most of these stars. They just pass right through and then pass right through and just bounce until it finally got in some sort of equilibrium. The centers of those galaxies, though, would collide. Were those supermassive black holes that are millions of times the mass of our own sun. Because the center of gravity, both center of gravity in those things, they would collide. And there's a lot denser stars in that area, so they would probably be a very active galactic core and a lot of radiation coming off of that thing. It'd be pretty gnarly. The outsides of those galaxies, probably not as much. But if the cores collide, the X-rays that come off of them will be so gnarly it might blow all the gas and dust out of our galaxy and pretty much strip our ability to make new stars after that. That's what we kind of think happened with a lot of the early active galaxies. And the the ones that became elliptical galaxies got all stripped of their gas and dust because of the radiation pouring off of the accretion prism, the accretion disk around the supermassive black holes in their centers. Yeah. But don't worry, it's billions of years in the future, so I don't have to worry too much about like what you or I are going to think about it when it happens, because we won't be around. But you could have instances where stars get pretty close to each other, or form new weird binary systems, or collide and make even bigger stars. Or, you know, you got 150 billion stars in each of those galaxies. There are the odds that two of them are going to hit at least once, if not more than that. So it won't happen everywhere, but the odds are mostly that those star systems will pass right by each other and just miss entirely. Michael Harrow, Houston, do you have a collection of interesting pants? I do not. I do have one pair of these kind of chocolate velvet slacks that I do like to wear to weddings. They're super, they just feel really nice. I like wearing those. But I got a couple of weird suits with some, interesting pants. But I like to wear usually one crazy pattern and maybe some colorful shoes. But the pants and the shorts usually aren't too exciting because it just takes away. It's too much. It can be too much if you're doing clashing patterns too often. So you gotta tame it down. You want the eyes to focus on one crazy pattern, but go, oh, that's a nice shirt, rather than, whoa, look at those shirts and those pants. That's just too much. I can't handle it. Like, it's too much. I can't. It's overloading my circuitry. David Dixon, Star Crash had better perms than Star Wars. How has everyone heard of this movie? I've never heard of it. John B., I'm in the OTC. AMLM, whopping 12 cents a share, down 40% for my buy-in, but they prospect lithium in interesting areas. All right. I do think that any lithium stock you have in 3 years might be dead if we've moved on to solid state batteries by then. Whoa, my power just blinked. Why did my power just blink? The internet's still going, so at least the internet didn't die. But that was weird. So if my power goes out for some reason, I don't know why. It's 75 degrees outside and absolutely beautiful. That was weird. Grandpa Barney. I haven't seen Grandpa Barney in a while. Maybe he's been on vacation. He may have to come out and fix some stuff. Okay. Raider Bo, if AMC get bought out, that means no squeeze for AMC. It depends. If it's a merger where AMC stock becomes a stock of another company, then all of a sudden those folks will be short on the stock of that parent company, which might be a bad thing, especially if that parent company is someone like Disney. But if it gets bought out and turned private, I'm not sure what that means. I mean, not the closed position if it does get bought out and turned private, but I don't know how that would translate to would the shorts just get a bill for whatever the buyout price is? Be like, hey, $40. That's what we get. That's what we owe on all these synthetic shares you made. I'd be curious. Green-eyed banded elixir, sorry. Giving Ukraine money. That money is used to line pockets of defense contractors. Stop with the ready talking points. Huh? We haven't talked about Ukraine today. Or was that what those deleted messages were? I don't know. There's a whole bunch of Jesse Hartman deleted things. I did not see what was going on there. Darren, he just got caught to come back from Bali. Man. I had some friends too that just got it. They had to avoid it for 2.5 years. Now they got it. It's happening. Everyone's got it. BA5 is really, really transmissible. All right, Scott Paulin, Houston, I am through FINRA arbitration training. We'll let you know how the first year goes. I'm going to Let me know how the first couple of arbitrations go. How often do they, Scott? How often do they expect you to participate in arbitration? Is it something like weekly, monthly, a couple times a year? How often? How often do you have to do it? I'm curious. Cholo Dan, Foot Locker might buy AMC. Michael Ahero, HKD did a halt at 355. So right before close, they did a halt. And then they opened back up at after hours and it went $200. That's nuts. MT Houston, please speak of monkeypox in the military. When you get deployed, at least since 2003, you get vaccinated for smallpox for fear it would be used as a biological weapon. Is it possible? Smallpox, monkeypox, cowpox are all part of the same family, and the smallpox vaccine gives an 85% efficacy towards monkeypox. So if you have the ability to get vaccinated, I suggest it. I have no idea the long-term efficacy. It's like, our boomer parents that got a smallpox vaccine back in the 50s or 60s. I don't know how long that lasts, but this is a DNA virus, and DNA viruses don't mutate as easily as RNA, like COVID or the common cold or flu. It's a lot harder for them to mutate because there's, DNA, you got your C's, G's, T's, and A's, and they line up and they bond with each other and they make the little fancy double helix. And RNA is just one half of that strand, and so you can easily replace a C with a T or a G with an A or whatever, and you can make for different genetic code quite easily. They mutate really well. So if you got vaccinated back in the day and your body still recognizes the antibodies, then you might be okay. But the U.S. government, if the CDC was worth its salt right now, they would be stepping up, demanding that we fund production of vaccines at an insane level to be able to vaccinate the entire population against monkeypox next week, man. This thing's doubling at a rate about every 6.5 days, and we're only testing one segment of the population. We're saying, oh, it's all gay men. They're the only ones who are getting it. No, we're just only testing gay men. I've heard multiple stories. People who got it went to their doctors and were like, hey, can I get tested for monkeypox? Like, yeah, well, you're not testing you because you're not a gay man. But they're like a massage therapist or something like that. People who get monkeypox, whether they're gay men or not, they're still going to go to the gym. They're still going to stay in hotel rooms. They're still going to ride public transit on seats, right? Are we going to take viricide that can handle DNA viruses and wipe down every surface and pour that shit into all of our laundry? And I think this is going to, once it gets into the school age population, when school starts, we're going to be seeing it everywhere because kids are freaking gross, man. They'll pick their scabs and wipe their boogers and lick things, and it's what they do. It's what they do, man. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Scott Paul in Houston, GameStop sells streamer package with microphone and camera. Try it out. Well, I heard that GameStop got rid of their Twitch streamer because she only had like 7 average views, even though they're paying her a fortune to do their Twitch streams. When I do Twitch, which isn't very often, I get more than 7 views. So if GameStop wants to pay me to stream on Twitch, we can do that. I just have to look at, the shit that's on my walls. Greg Mathis, Houston. Do you ever look out for long-range weather forecasts, winter weather forecasts, for instance? We're likely to get a similar winter forecast to 0001 and 1213 this year in the USA. Well, that's bad news for me because that means the Cascades don't get very much snow. The 2000-2001 ski season, I think, was pretty terrible, if I remember correctly. We were in I think we're El Nino that year, right? I might be misremembering here. Show me all the years of El Nino. Cultural history, effects. That didn't help me at all. Give me a list of El Nino years, you ding dong. And give me the list of. Okay. Well, there's 2002, 2003, but I think with the in 0405, I think they called 0405 the year without a winter here. There was like no snow in the mountains. I was in Hawaii, so I didn't have to worry about not being able to go skiing because I was in Hawaii. The El Nino event from 97, 98, and then the La Nina the next year, 99. That La Nina year produced the largest snowfall in recorded history. Mount Baker. Let's see here. Let's go to the Google Chrome. Mount Baker snowfall record. 1,140 inches. 95 feet. That's how much Mount Baker area got, which was the world record. And that was in 98, 99, the La Nina. It was insane. We were skiing powder in July. Like, it was after July 4th. It was like July 8th. My friends and I went to Crystal Mountain, and we skied on like a foot of powder. It was just, the winter never ended. It just kept going. They didn't have a mountain biking season that year because there was so much snow. It was nuts. Yeah, 1,140 inches. 95 feet. It's the equivalent, 95 feet. That's like a 10 or 11 story building of snow in 1 year. That is just it just did not stop. It was my senior year of high school, so that spring we skipped school so much. Oh my goodness. I don't really remember being in class because we went skiing so much because it was just, the snow didn't end. And it was a Wednesday. It was like 2 more feet of snow in a May. Let's go up the mountains. Let's go have some fun. And we just kept going. But 2001 ski season, Pacific Northwest. Alpine Meadows, Kirkwood, Mammoth, that's California. Mount Rainier, yeah, bad snow year. Mount Hood, 49% normal. Mount Bachelor, 43% normal. Whistler, so a little bit further north of Canada, did okay. Mount Baker, Rainier, not that great. Really bad for Fernie. Not too bad for Montana. Pretty good for Colorado and Utah. Park, Gothic, Taos. Taos did awesome. So Southwest was great. And then, so, yeah, Northeast did awesome. So Jay Peak, Smuggler's Notch, Sugar Bush, Killington, all well over 100% normal. So Northeast ski resorts would be great. Northwest, not so much. California, meh. Southern California got a boatload. I do think I went to, did I go to Bear Mountain that year? One of the years I went to Bear Mountain, it was bare. One of the years I went, it was actually covered in snow. Maybe it was that year. I can't remember. All right. Usually I care if it's El Nino. Oh, wrong camera. Usually I care if it's El Nino because I know it's not going to be worth getting a season's pass because it's just going to be awful. And to focus on traveling places to go skiing for the winter. Moki123G have a good sized Gibeon meteorite, one of my favorite things. Oh, good. I don't have any meteorites. I've touched them. I held them. I've pet them, but I don't have any of my own. Kith. If we mine the moon and alter its mass, wouldn't that screw up the tides? Nope. We wouldn't be able to mine the moon enough to screw up the tides because we'd be taking all the dust off the surface. And it wouldn't do anything to our tides. To like affect our tides, you have to pretty much eliminate the moon entirely. So yeah. Michael Harrow, Houston, if Africa had a central government, would it prevent the U.S., China, Russia, etc. from tapping the resources and allow them to benefit and be respected world power? That's a good question. I don't know if the individual nations of Africa could get along in that way, because a lot of the boundaries in Africa are arbitrary. That were designed by colonizers, kind of like the same way as the Middle East. Like boundaries in the Middle East were drawn by colonizers prior to World War II, and a lot of the problems we have now is that we sliced entire tribes in half. We grouped tribes that had been traditional antithesis to each other for a long time, antagonistic. That's what we're looking for. Antagonistic to each other for a long time, and we have a lot of problems ever since because of that. Africa is kind of the same way. The lines were arbitrary because they were delineated between these European powers that were taking over the continent, and not between the actual tribal systems that existed prior to that, or the nations that were there before. Africa does suffer from the fact that they're very mineral rich, very militarily weak, and they don't have strong governments, so they aren't able to be like, no, you can't come into the Congo, work a bunch of child slaves to get cobalt or coltan or whatever it is you're getting out of here. That's wrong, and we're not going to support it. They basically just grease the palms of someone like, yeah, take all the kids you want, I don't care. And that's the weakness of that central government. I would love to see Africa be able to assert its strength and actually capitalize on its incredible mineral wealth. But I think because it has such an incredible mineral wealth, that also means we will never allow that to happen. The powers that be that exploit that stuff, they're never going to let any of these African nations have extremely strong governments. And I'm not sure what the solution that's going to be. I'm not sure what's going to happen to those economies when we start mining space, getting the metals out of asteroids rather than from the Earth, and kills the mining industry across the globe. It'll help the environment, but it'll put 1 billion people out of work. You have 100 million artisanal gold miners on Earth alone. That's 100 million people supporting families just by getting a few dollars a day out of streams in Mongolia or Suriname or wherever they happen to be. And if those folks no longer have a gold market because we can get $40 trillion out of a near-Earth asteroid, they're not going to buy their gold. The gold prices will just... Anyway. So they're not going to be able to survive. And, if we're getting helium-3 out of the moon, then cut global oil production in half. Because all we need oil for is plastics and fertilizers and pesticides and herbicides, and we won't need it for burning fuel anymore. You get everything from electricity, so we won't have to burn it anymore. So cut that in half. So that means, I don't know, there's 400 million people who work in oil and gas, so cut their jobs by half, so we have 200 million. So now we've got 300 million people just from gold and gas and oil out of business. We won't need to mine coal ever again. So wipe out another few million from coal mining. Other metals, rare earths, won't have to do that anymore. The plants process a lot of stuff. A lot of that probably get processed in space, probably robotically. Yeah, probably in the end it would kill about 1 billion jobs globally. So expect unemployment worldwide to go up 15% just from mining space. So we'll have to figure out different ways for those people to work and support themselves. But it would also mean the interest of Western powers and Eastern powers in the resources of Africa would just disappear all of a sudden. And those folks, while maybe facing massive unemployment temporarily, would actually be able to forge their own path and determine their own fate in some way without interference of the West. So let's see where we go. Mike C., I'll see you later. Have a good night. Quit. Okay. Norito Vito. Houston, what's up with Bed Bath & Beyond? Does this ticker better than AMC long-term, short-term, high birthday? Bed Bath & Beyond, the last Ortex report I saw was that they were incredibly shorted. I don't know what S3 is saying, but they've got an incredibly high short interest. So I think Bed Bath & Beyond is a huge sleeper play that a lot of people aren't paying attention to. They don't quite have the rabid followers as GameStop and AMC have, but Cohen has got a huge chunk of out-of-the-money calls that I think he fully expects this thing to explode on. Remember, he bought in at 20, and the price right now is like 5, 6. What is the price right now for Bed Bath & Beyond? $5.77. So it was below 4 this morning. So we had a good jump today. Went up 14%. But it's been as low as $4.47 last month. We had a peak in March at $27, and it's been downhill ever since. I think that's because of shorting. So those calls, I think, are going to print hard when it does jump. What is short interest? Short interest right now. What are you reporting? 28.56 million shares being reported by Barron's as short. What is... How many shares open? Finance. Sorry. Oh, guys, I always forget to turn my stupid frozen face versus active face. Who's going to win? And the market cap's only $461 million. This is a company that does $12 billion a year in sales. 12 billion with a B. $12 billion a year in sales, and their market cap is under $500 million. This is exactly where GameStop was 2 years ago. April 2020, they did $6 billion a year in sales, and you could buy them for $200 million. So they are exactly where GameStop was 2 years ago financially. Twice the revenue, twice the market cap. That's nuts. That is nuts. So, yeah. Think about that. 461. Sorry. 461. So 79 million shares out there, and they're reporting 28 million of them are short. So that's 35% short interest. That's reported in VW territory. They're like 30% short when everything went nuts. 25% short. Something that was less than this. And they've got a huge whale owning parts of it. We know him very well. Yeah. So, nope, wrong one. There we go. That's the correct one. Yeah, it's there's something brewing. That's for sure. Oh, Untun. Like the chat. Have you seen D. Lauer tweeted about GME being a problem for brokers missing shares in Germany, to mention one in specific? Yeah, D. Lauer has a big long thread on Twitter today about that. And he also wrote, I think, an article posted to one of the Superstonk or one of those. Can't remember which one. Somewhere to Reddit. Basically pointing out, like, hey, shenanigans. They got to organize this because everyone's going to be absolutely bonkers. Yeah. Colin Halligan, hey Houston, I'm not sure if you saw my previous comment. I bought my shares through a Canadian bank. They were delayed 5 days from Friday. There was a reason waiting for shares from transfer agent. Truth? I don't think so. I think they're shooting bricks, wondering what's going to happen, why they didn't get any shares. I have a feeling they didn't get anything. And so they just had to, like, invent some and throw them into your account, probably. Too many people own this stock and own too many shares that don't exist. And a lot of these brokers just went, we'll just put some fake ones in there and hope for the best. I think that's where they were. And I think the DTCC gave them the cop-out of saying it's just a split, so just split their shares, it'll be fine. And they can't do that. But they're going to work on that for now while they stall. Because everything is just a stall game. Okay, Green Banded Elixir. We're replying to some troll who got blocked. Okay. All right. Greg Mathis, Mathis, sorry. I'm in the Piedmont in North Carolina, and we had blizzards here in 2000, 2001. It looked like the East Coast got hammered that year, judging from the snow reports. So, yeah. John B. Houston, if you had to bet which would go first, Hayward Fault in California or Juan de Fuca subduction zone, which would you choose, or some other fault out there? Ooh. Let's go look at them. I love to look at me some faults. So, let's get out of Utah here. Let's go to California first. So the Hayward Fault is a spur off of the San Andreas. So you can see the San Andreas comes down from the north here, goes out to sea just north of San Francisco, comes down basically through the bay, all the way down Southern California. Big, long, giant line going all the way down, all the way down, all the way down, out through the desert, all the way down through San Bernardino, all the way down through the Colorado Valley, through Salton Sea, all the way down to Mexico. So it's a big, giant, long, essentially a line with a little bit of a dog leg that bends into Mexico. And it's because this microcontinent here, which is the Baja Peninsula up through Western California, is desperately trying to move north. And at the pace it's going, in about, 60 million years, it might be up where like the Northwest is. It's desperately just shearing along, moving itself really far north, pretty fast. And that's where the quakes are happening from. Now, the Hayward Fault, Hayward, let me get to Hayward, California. There we go. So the Hayward Fault is a spur that is underground out here. I can't remember which direction it goes, but I think it kind of goes east-west a little bit off of the San Andreas. And there's creep that happens in many faults in the area. There was a sidewalk that was paved in like the early 1900s. They've been creeping along, an inch a year or something since it was built. And scientists were studying like how the sidewalk was moving from the road and shearing itself. And then the road company came out and fixed it. And the scientists were like, no, it's like 100 years worth of data gone. And then you can go to like Hollister, California, where all the sidewalks are all messed up. And there's just constant creep going on. Now, they do get a large earthquake about once every 50 years or so from this system, whether it's the Hayward Fault, San Andreas, or one of the other local faults. They get a decent earthquake about once every 50 years in the 6+ region. So the bid 1906, 1989 were the two really big ones. We are 33 years removed from that 1989 quake. So the odds of there being a big quake are increasing and get more serious as time goes on. But the Juan de Fuca plate, or the Juan de Fuca subduction zone up here, this is where the shelf is. That's where the Juan de Fuca plate is diving underneath the coast. And this thing, every 300 or so years, has a 9.0 or bigger quake. And we are 322 years removed from the last major quake in this zone. So we are beyond due. We are overdue for a subduction zone quake in this region. And because there hasn't been a huge subduction zone quake, the volcanoes in the Pacific Northwest have been fairly quiet. Mount St. Helens has done its stuff. Mount Lassen in 1909 also Mount Lassen went sometime around then. But there has not been too much action from these volcanoes because they haven't had any new source material. So when that material, getting the camera up here, when that material dives down, it melts and then feeds the lava chambers of the Cascades and they get lots of eruptions. But it's been locked for 300 years and not much new material has gone down. So most of the mountains have been pretty quiet. I suspect if we get a big, huge earthquake along this subduction zone, that within a few years we'll have volcanoes popping off up and down the coast, making all sorts of noise and ruining people's lives because we'll have a whole bunch of new melt material flooding those magma chambers. And They make it exciting here on the West Coast. Who doesn't love themselves a good volcanic eruption? I mean, yeah, it can kill people and wipe stuff out, but you know, it's impressive. You look at it and go, wow, the Earth did that. That's awesome. I like it a lot. Okay, Daphne, for the start of your camera fund. Thank you, Daphne. Oh, shoot. I did click the wrong one again. There you go. Back to the monkey large camera. Okay, where was I? Oh, yeah, Daphne just moved back to San Francisco. Daphne, you're screwed. Illinois Gaming, did I talk about HDK? Yes, I did. And the volume was small. I'd actually pay attention to the volume on that. I did not pay attention to what size the volume was. But Greg Mathis has got coordinates here. I might as well go back. Play around with some coordinates. Love me some coordinates. Oh, we can't. Oh, that's because there's an and in there. I need to delete the and. Turn that into a comma, and then bam. There we go. We're going to Turkey. Where are we going to Turkey? We're going to here. A roundabout in Turkey. Okay. Got a roundabout. We got, looks like some nice neighborhood. Got a pool. Got some pretty large homes, it looks like. Is it a coastal community? Is that where we were? On the coast? Close to it? Oh, the coast's right there. Not too far from the coast. Can we drop a little dude here? What happens if we drop him right there? Wait, I'm on the beach. How the hell did that happen? What the world? I did not drop myself on a beach. I dropped myself on a roundabout. But it's a lovely beach. That's where Helen of Troy landed. Where am I? Exit. How'd that happen? Google, you have some splaining to do. I think I ended up there. Somehow. Oludinez. Oludinez. What in the world? What in the world? Explain what just happened. I would drop myself on the other side of the roundabout. Say, right there. There we go. Now I'm here. That fence is a little bit disrepair. Looks like they're doing some construction, maybe? Ooh. Let's get ourselves some, this. I'm gonna go for some street food. Wait. I got a fence rock wall. I don't know why I'm here. Why am I here? What is that thing? Is that a light pole taken over by vines? I don't know what that is. Well, Mr. Mathis, you took me here, and I have no idea. Ah, wrong one again. There we go. I have no idea why. Pan out, it has a lagoon. A lagoon? What? Am I... What? A lagoon? Pan out. I see a roundabout. I don't see a lagoon. What you talking about, Willis? But... Udinez. Udinez. Amazing place. We'll have to go. We'll go here. Go to a Turkish prison. Check that off the list. And see what's happening. Okay. King Ambrose. Hi, I'm new. Hi, I'm new. I'm Houston. Welcome. What's happening? Well, talking about stocks. People are giving me points to look at the maps because why not? It's 11 o'clock at night. I got nothing else to do. Okay. Darren Haya, Houston, do you have any long-distance relationship advice? I'm moving abroad to study, and unfortunately my girlfriend will still be in my home country. I've had a successful long-distance relationship. She lived in France. I lived here. And then she went to school in Florida, and I still lived here. The key is visits. So have your girlfriend come visit. I know you're in Singapore, I think, right? So have her hop on a plane. Come see at some point. Hang out. That's important. Also, like, communicate. It doesn't be all the time. And I don't think you should set up expectations that, like, oh, I'm going to call you. We're going to talk on the phone for an hour every night. Because the entire reason you are out of the country is to experience that country. So let's set up some ground rules, some healthy, like, hey, we're going to try and contact each other a couple times a week, talk on the internet, whatever. But you don't need to, like, tie yourself to, like, whenever you are in class, you are in your dorm or your apartment talking to your girlfriend. That stuff is not necessarily healthy. Like, go experience, live life, gain some experiences, and just, you know, be good and trust each other. That's what you gotta do. That's my advice. That's what's worked for me in the past. Just be good, trust each other, and don't be like tied by an umbilical cord to each other, because you guys got to go live your life and experience things. Yeah. Greg Mathis, I had a long distance relationship now with my wife. I'm British and my wife is from North Carolina. It can happen. Yeah, I mean, the fact that you two know each other ahead of time makes a big difference. Than like meeting on the internet and being 1,000 miles away from each other at all times. That's a little different, and I think it's hard to actually develop intimacy. I don't know if Greg, if you met beforehand or if you met on the internet, but I've not had success meeting somebody who's far away and developing a relationship that way, but somebody who I met in person and then was able to have a relationship later, or long distance at the time, that's worked better. Yeah, so that's what I say. Just experience what you're meant to experience. Keep in contact, talk with each other, but just don't make it too much. Oh, there goes the monkey butt. She's popping up. Yay! But you can't see her because she's no longer monkey butt cam going. She's like, finally the camera's off me. I can go up on my bed here. Yeah. But beyond that, I don't know. Keep it simple. No need to complicate it. I was dating a girl before I moved to Austria. I was dating a girl, and we just sort of like, well, I'm moving to Europe. I don't know how long I'm going to be there. I guess that's it. And both kind of went, okay. And I left, so that's how that worked. But you have a fixed timeline. You guys, you know that you're coming back to Singapore, so, you know. Just see what she wants, what she expects out of it. Have a nice talk about it before you leave. And when do you head out? Because you're going to the UK for school, right? If I remember correctly. It's a big deal to like go leave for a year and go somewhere. Where was I? That was Master Bilbo, what's your fastest Rubik's Cube time? Oh man, I don't know what the time was, but I looked up like how to do a Rubik's Cube quick, because apparently there's a pattern that you can do that will pretty much set you up, and there's probably a couple minutes. But I never was one of those folks that like sat at my desk and like tried to do it in 4 seconds or whatever. I just didn't care enough. When I was a kid, it frustrated the hell out of me. I'd get like one side all that way and nothing else would work, and I'd be like, nah. I did not have the patience for it at all. Scott Pollen, this looks like somewhere in the Midwest, perhaps, they're giving us. Or maybe in the Rockies. Shabam, shabam, shabam. Flying around the world. Shalap. Where are we? We are at a warehouse. It's complex. We got, what is it, lumberyard? What are you? Boxes? Fruit packaging? Where are we? Okay. Alright. So we're here. Never catch me alive, coppers. That's a nice big warehouse. Scott, why'd you bring me here? For why am I here? Can I drag and drop into the grass? Nope, just in the road again. Shdoink. I don't know why I'm here, Scott. You're bringing me to a place where there's a bunch of trucks backed into a giant warehouse. Is this a GameStop warehouse? Where am I? What even state am I in? I have no idea. Next to an airport. Oh, we're in Denver. Okay, it's DFW. The airport of Satan, apparently. So we're in Denver. We're at an airport. We're at a warehouse next to airport. I don't know why I'm here. Alright, go back to monkey picture. You work at the same company. You're in the UK, she in the US. Awesome. Tripped to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and I was hooked. See? That's what happens. You meet them, you're like, I like you. This is going to work out. Alright, Nico. You're taking me the other side of the world. We're going someplace tropical. 14 degrees south. Let's make this more exciting than a warehouse outside of the Denver airport. Alright, here we go. South America. Where am I? Chile? I am at some... Oh, is this some of the Nazca Lines? Oh, we're in some Nazca Lines. Might be in Peru. There we go. Cool. There's some. This is what I was looking for last show and I was able to find. So, let me... Look at this guy. Look at that guy right there. You got a little dude there? Got a little dude there. That might be another little dude there, but the numbers are kind of in the way. Nazca Lines. Bam. What are these ones? Is there anything I can recognize? Nope. Can't recognize anything out of that one. Maybe that might be a face. I'm not sure. Awesome. There we go. We got some more lines here. More Nazca Lines. These things will go on forever. For no reason that we can tell. Excellent. Thank you for getting me here. Because the last time I went looking, we didn't have them. We said like the lines, but not any of the cool drawings on the sides of hills. But there's another one there. What are like the people that made these Nazca Lines and these designs? Was it a hobby that it's like, oh, you know what? Finish lunch. I'm gonna kick off early and go up and finish my little do with a headdress. Or was it like, hey, your job is to go up there and make that do with a headdress, and you have to do it for the next 3 weeks until it's done? Was it a hobby or was it a requirement? I don't know. Was it a rite of passage? I wish I knew more. Oh, wrong one again. Okay. Have you been to the back rooms? I don't know what the back rooms is, King Ambrose. So no, I can say I haven't. Greg Mathis, why is Welsh gold so expensive and where in Wales was it mined? I didn't know there's a different price for Welsh gold. Welsh gold rate today in US dollars. $41 per gram. 18 karat. 24 karat, 56. Seems to be the same price as regular gold. Is Welsh gold more valuable? Weird. Gold buys. Is Welsh gold more valuable? How come I have never heard of this? Oh, you guys can't see what I'm doing here. Gotta turn off the Google Earth again. Okay. So, this is from November of last year. Wales is known for its dramatic scenery steeped in mystery and romance. It's covered majestic heather-clad hills, cut by cascading waterfalls and mountain streams and lush graded valleys and words you can't pronounce. Beneath the quartzite exterior, there's another treasure valuable as beautiful. Perhaps you've heard of there's gold in Numnar Welsh Hills. Did you know that Welsh gold has decorated the finger of every royal bride dating back to the Queen Mother wedding in 1923? What is it about Welsh gold that makes it top choice of British monarchy? Okay. Why a surprise? In the case of precious metal, it boils down to scarcity. It's the rarest in the world. The final commercial gold mine in Wales has long since closed. The company has scrapped out and extended the remaining supplies by mixing its gold with other gold bullion ever since. However, the royal wedding rings are pure. The most recent are likely made from 1 kilogram chunk of Welsh gold that was presented to the Queen in 1989 by the Clogau mine. Clogau? I don't know how to pronounce Welsh. I'll butcher it every time. It's frequently regarded as having a rosier, deeper color than other gold. That's because of the traces of copper in the mine ore. However, if separated from the copper traces, pure gold will gleam the same yellow as any other gold. So they're gold. So basically, because of the copper impurities, as long as you don't make it pure, and you have the impurities in there, which technically we should make it worth less, but there's a name brand associated with it. That's why it costs more. Okay. Huh. Interesting. Mines closed, although tourists can still pan for gold at defunct mines. Welsh gold is no longer being mined, making it possible the rarest gold in the world. It's become incredibly expensive, and gold from the famous mines can attract prices that are higher than the value of standard gold. So is Welsh gold dying out forever? Maybe not. In recent years, there have been promising discoveries. Gold deposit stretches as long as 9 kilometers. All right. All right. So where was that question? I already forgot what your question was. Who was asking me? It was Greg Mathis was asking me that. Oh, and where in Wales was it mined? My guess is the mountains. If we look at the map, go back to take you off, turn you on. There we go. Let's go. Let's maybe find the Clogau mine. Clogau? Let's look for that. Bam, shabam. Clogau mine. Go. Search. Well, we're spinning. Rounding up. We're in Wales. Okay. Gold Mines of Wales, National Trust. So we're up here. So this must be where it was. So you guys can't see. UK, west of the country. Up in them there hills here. Dolgellau. It's probably in these hills where the old gold mines. There's also lots of gold in Scotland too. You can mine lots of the streams in Scotland as well. A lot of Scottish guys like to go sniping, where they pick the gold out of the cracks along the rivers. So it's probably the deposits were found along this river, the alluvial deposits, and they traced them to the rock up in the hills here, where they found the gold veins coming out. But my guess, if you can get gold out of this stream, you can probably get gold out of this stream as well, because there's a lot of the drainage from the same rock formations. So anywhere along here, I bet you can go panning in the streams and find something. Okay. Guitar stuff. I was in Napa for the 6.0 quake 2015. Would that count, or is that a different fault? It's not. That's a different fault than the Hayward one, but it's along the same system. They're all spurs that come off of or either come off as spurs or parallel faults to the San Andreas fault. So yeah, but San Francisco area they get a big one, once every 50 years. They'll get something that's pretty decent. That 7 range maybe. Okay. Crackwag, guitar stuff. I lived there in that time. The only building that collapsed was a restaurant. I worked there, so I lost my job. Oh man, that sucks. DVS latest data shows Bed Bath & Beyond short interest 129%. And Bed Bath & Beyond is going to explode. How's this going to happen? All right. Scott Paul, did you answer where I was there? In those coordinates? You did not. It said it's some warehouse outside of the Denver airport. All right. Glad we visited. All right. It's past 11 here. I might be faded. We might be it for today. We can one more coordinate for Greg Mathis here, and I might call her an evening. Greg, where are you taking me? We're gonna go. All right. I gotta edit your. Okay. I gotta click the north longitude. Gotta delete that and go shabam. Liverpool. All right, we're going to Liverpool. We're going to this street in Liverpool. We're going to this building in Liverpool. That's something under construction, looks like. What are we doing here? What's happening? What's so exciting about this? Shaboom. Capital 107.6 FM. Is this like where the Beatles are from? What's happening? Why am I in Liverpool? Why no one explain anything to me ever? It's got a pretty hip looking downtown. I don't know why I'm here, Greg Mathis. You guys send me to just the most random places all over the place. Pull out to the liver building. Okay, gotta pull out. So I gotta exit street. Oh, I'm facing the sky. What's happened? What? Where? What happened? What happened? What? Where am I? Where? What happened? Where'd everything go? Okay, go back to that. Oh yeah, there we go. All right. Somehow, I ended up inside the earth and I couldn't get out. Okay, so we got a little lagoon here. Got a little dry dock. Got another lagoon. Pull out to the liver building. What would be the liver building? Queen Elizabeth Law Courts, Liverpool. 1 Park West. James Street, Railway Station. Liver building. Hilton, Liverpool. Old Dock. Canning Railway Station. Canning Dock. Liver building. Port of Liverpool building. That's almost a liver building. Liverpool Castle. That could be a liver building. Explain yourselves! On the river. There's a liver building on the river. Okay. Museum of Liverpool? That it? Echo Arena? Man. Got Vauxhall. Basically, British Pontiac. I don't know what I'm doing here, man. I'm just 11 o'clock at night looking at Greater Liverpool. Looking for the liver building of Liverpool. Oh, there's Royal Liver Building. All right. So, Royal Liver Building. We're going to royal our livers and drop right there. Liverpool. What? Ain't got no street view? What the heck? Okay. Maybe right there? Shabam. Okay. Got a rotunda. Entrance. We got... There we are. Okay. What am I doing here? Why am I here? Maybe one of these? Got a little canal. Got some folks. We got ourselves a liver building. Livering it up. Being as British as possible. Has a mythical bird. Look at the top. Okay. Oh man, I gotta look at the top. Go back. Look at the top. Look at the mythical bird. Is that the mythical bird? Oh, there's a bird. Okay. That must be the bird. Alright. It's got itself a Seahawk up there. And some very dark courtyards. There we are. Alright, guys. Microwave liver's worst dish ever served. It's called the liver bird. Oh, what a way to end the night. Go back to the monkey large camera. Hello. Go back to the monkey butt. Hello, monkey butt. In your butt. In your messy closet. Alright, everybody. I'll see you Wednesday. I'm not sure what time. If I do have to go to Portland to get this car, then I may be doing that during the day. So it might be another nighttime show. And if I'm not doing nighttime show, then I'll see you in the afternoon. Which means all of you lovely Euros, it'll be late for you. And all of you Australians, it'll be much too early. So, there we go. Alright. How about... Gotta go there. And I gotta go... Whoops, wrong one. Gotta go there. Go do that. Shabam!